3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the psych ward at Loyola, where you would go into a haunted fun house, starting where you would experience shadows on walls, an operation room, a red creepy room with actors, mirrors, and also a hallway with people jumping out at you. Our first attraction would be people appearing like people are in windows when it's really just a shadow. We would create this by having a light shine at a window with an object in front of it. Where the object is on the window, there would be no light, creating an umbra in the shape of this object, which is a person. And where some light will be, there will be the penumbra, which will be kind of gray. Our next attraction will be our red room here, where there will be a person wearing all red, and there will be no light in the room except for that red light shining on him. He would be the only thing visible because all his red clothing would reflect the red light, and everything else absorbs that red light, so it would be dark. Our next attraction is our mirror room, where we have a bunch of mirrors angled at each other with two actors standing in front of it. It would appear like there are more than two of them in the mirror. This is because we have our angled mirrors so that when light shines from the object into the mirror, some of that light will go into another mirror and then back into your eye, appearing like there's more than one. Our next attraction would be our string instrument in a hallway, where as you continue going down the hallway, the pitch will get higher and higher, creating suspense before you enter a room. It's shown here because as you crank the string, the tension is greater, creating a higher pitch, like here. Our next instrument is our tube or bottle instrument, where we have different size bottles created by the water in them, and the air blown across them will create vibrations, creating sound, different pitch. It's shown here because the wavelength is 4 times as long as the closed tube on one end, and that would create the different pitches. Our last attraction would be our bats over the ceiling, which demonstrates the Doppler effect. When the bats come close to you, around you, it's pushing the sound waves toward into each other, creating a greater amplitude. And as it goes away, it spreads out.
Welcome to the Psych Ward, Group 4's physics project. This is what we're going to do. You're going to enter through here, and you're going to hear a bunch of scary, eerie noises and stuff like that. The first eerie noise and scary noise we're going to have is like this wind blowing through tubes, so it creates that kind of scary feeling of wind and everything. And here's the physics concept. It's 4 times the tube, 4 times the length of the tube equals the wavelength. So we're going to have different types of tubes, different lengths of tubes create different pitches and sound. The second noise we're going to have when you enter the room is the Doppler effect. There will be a bunch of bats coming around and just flying by, and they'll be screeching like crazy. And here's the physics concept for that. Like when a motorcycle comes up and it gets closer, it is louder, and as it gets farther away, it's quieter. Third noise we'll have is the crank, where we're going to have a ball and a string, like this weight and a string, where you can pluck the noise and you can create different pitches and sound, like the physics concept right here. You have like heavier weight, then you'll have a higher pitch and sound. So that's the third physics concept. Then you'll come through here to the red room, and the red room is right here, where there will be a red light, only a red light in the room, and there will be a man wearing like a green suit or something inside the room, but you can't see him. He'll only be black because green doesn't reflect off red light. And here's the physics concept right here, showing you what reflects off of what and so on. And then you go through here into the hall mirrors. Hall mirrors is this right here, where there will be like two like angry guys, and mirrors will show that maybe that there will be like a bunch of them. And here's the concept right here, where the light is reflected and the object is reflected off the mirror, showing many objects in the room. Next, you'll go to the next part of our physics.
Okay, here we are at the psych board for a group force project. As you come in to our psych board, we'll have a bunch of different sounds. Our first one is these tubes. As you can see, we've filled them up with different amounts of water, so because the wavelength is 4 times the tube, so we can actually create higher pitched sounds based on how much we have in there. The next one, as you come in, we'll have a bunch of bats spinning around to create a Doppler effect, as shown here, where as the thing's coming towards you, the waves are compressed, and then as it goes out, they kind of spread out, and then come back around to create a compressed wave again. And then our third one is we have a string attached to a crank, and as you crank it more, you increase tension on the string. And it shows here that if you increase the weight or the tension on the string, you can actually create higher pitched sounds and scarier sounds with this concept. As you continue, you end up going into the red room.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, and then where red light is actually shining down on someone wearing a different colored suit, because as shown here, the light won't reflect off of them if they're wearing something else, but if they wear red, it would reflect. So they wear something different to help absorb the light. Our next one is this hall of mirrors. The mirrors help reflect a bunch of people by angling them correctly, shown here, where if you angle the mirrors correctly, you can actually create more objects, images than there are of the object. And then our last one is these shadows, shown here, where if you shine a light onto a small object, you can actually create a big umbra based on how close you put the object to the light, and that helps create larger shadows. And that's our psych ward.